Happy New Year, everybody. I hope you are welcoming 2016 with lots of blessings on your mind. I wanted to show you a tradition that I started about 4 years ago, and that is keeping a blessings jar. Starting on the first day of the new year, I go through last year's blessings and I just go through them and I read them and I kind of reflect back on some of the wonderful things that I can be grateful for that maybe I'd forgotten about. And then I store those and I start a new one. So this is 2015's blessing jar. I'm going to go through it with you. So the way that I help myself keep it handy is I have this jar out in my kitchen. I've got a little Post-it pad and a pen nearby. So that way I'm cognizant of it and I don't forget. I will say that there were some months that went by where I was like, ooh, I haven't used it in a while. So, you know, it is what it is. But this is what I have. This was January of last year. It says, getting a free Clubhouse to gift Tia for her 10th birthday off the swap. There's this amazing Facebook group in our town where people will post things like a classifieds, and they give away the most amazing things you could ever think of. This particular house was custom designed by the person's contractor, so it was something that required a truck and 5 men to move. And it was amazing. Like, this is something that you could pay thousands for, and we got it for absolutely free. I redecorated it and gave it to Tia as her 10th birthday present. Number 2, meeting Peggy Wilkinson and being reminded to choose joy. So Peggy is a woman that I met in my prayer group, and it's Moms in Prayer. It's a group that prays weekly for our kids' schools and our children. And when I met her, unfortunately, she was going through cancer battle and wasn't really sure if she was going to be in remission or not. She had some testing done and it showed that it was in her bones. And unfortunately, she died this summer. And this jar was actually at her funeral or her memorial service, and she had my joys, and she had some of her joys in this jar that they put in there for everybody. So I decided to convert this to my regular jar so that I could always remember Peggy, how awesome she was, and how she still was able to find gratefulness in what was a really sad situation. Hopefully onto something a little bit more uplifting. Tia going and taking to mathnasium and improving. Okay, so my daughter, if you're in California, your kids are now doing Common Core, which they weren't doing 4 years ago. So her transitioning was not an easy thing. I put her in a math program and she's doing so well. And so we're so grateful because what used to be a huge headache for me, now she's enjoying math again and I am free from all obligation to teach her. So this is April. Enjoying the dance-a-thon with the kids at their school. They had a fundraiser where the kids can get sponsors for their dance. Oops, I'm losing some. And they raised, goodness, like $28,000. It was way more than I thought they would raise. They had a DJ come to school, and it was so fun. The lights were out. There was all those little, like, glow lights. They had paint splatter that glue in the dark on the walls. And I just took a moment to really just be present, be like, this is so awesome. I'm dancing with my kids, and, you know, middle school and high school, I'm not going to be there doing that probably. Hold on. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to kind of stay in chronological order. This is June, so see, I kind of skipped a couple. Spending Adeline's 3rd birthday with her and the Harrises. So Adeline is my friend's child who I think of as like my bonus baby. She's just sweet, 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 sweet little girl. And the really neat thing is that she was actually born on the anniversary of my first baby's passing. And I realized it was maybe 2 years ago when it was June 1st, and I was like, gosh, something's on this day. And I couldn't remember what it was. And I was so grateful that the sadness of this loss had now been overshadowed by the blessing of this baby's birth. And she is 3.5 now, and I just adore her. And then my friends, Holly and her family, they came from Colorado to visit us. So we spent the day at the Santa Monica Beach with them. It was so fun. Summer, kids playing outside. So since we've moved to our town, we've got really just something that is quintessential Norman Rockwell, where all the kids in the neighborhood come out and play, and they're out there all day long. And that was our summer. Honestly, I was terrified of what I was going to do with my kids. Summer camps are so expensive, and I was like, how am I going to keep them occupied? They're going to drive me crazy. And honestly, they kept themselves occupied. I had to make them come inside so they could eat and shower. So that was awesome. Ooh, back again. Let's see. Oh, okay, yeah, see, I always forgot this. This says my mom being okay from a car crash. She had an accident in her neighborhood, and unfortunately it was like, she's had one every year for the last few years. She just lives in a very high density area, and so I was just grateful that I lived 10 minutes away from her and that I could be there in a flash and just support her. Aww. This one, I'll just keep the names private, but I actually talk about this on my blog. If you Google Piece of Cake Life transparent, you'll hear the story. So this was the day that I met this family. And it really just opened my eyes because it was such an apropos time. Oh, this was a free basketball clinic for Tia by her teacher's boyfriend. Her teacher's boyfriend started a basketball clinic. My daughter had been begging me, and basketball is not a big thing in our town. It's baseball and soccer and softball. And so he started it, and it was free. I was like, what a blessing that we don't have to beg. And she loved it, and she gets exercise. And then my husband, he commutes super far to work, and his car was really old, probably 17 years old. And it was like one of the things that was in the back of his mind that was kind of nagging him, like, any day this car is going to break down on me. So I went onto the swap page that I told you about on Facebook, and I just put in there, in search of Prius. Somebody in our town hooked us up with their family in Hollywood, and he was able to get exactly the Prius that he wanted for an amazing price. And then my last one, I think this is my last. Wait. Oh, I had one more. Okay, I'll do this one. This is July. It said, our first official party. It was a great time with, and then I mentioned some families' names. We moved here a year and a half ago, and we hadn't had anything more than like maybe a couple over or one family over. So this was our first like party. And in our town, 4th of July is like Christmas. People go all out. They dress up. They run down the streets because most of them are blocked out just waving, Happy 4th. It's quite a spectacular thing. And then the fireworks are produced by our main, I guess, sponsor in our town. It is unbelievable. I remember at the very end of the show just going, wow. And so that was our party. So I think that'll be a tradition we'll have every year. And the last one was grateful that Tia's thumb feels great. She broke her thumb about 2.5 years ago, and it was just taking so long to heal. She was in physical therapy up until this August, so about 2 years. And then just one day she says, you know what? My thumb feels great. It doesn't bother me more. I was like, thank you. She was really nervous because they were talking about surgery, and she noticed a change in her penmanship. We all noticed. She just didn't have the same use of her thumb that she had. And so it's awesome that she's back to cartooning what she loves and enjoying her active life. So I want to encourage you to start your own grateful jar and let me know what you have coming up. Bye!